Okay, in this video we are looking at how to simplify surds once they're being multiplied together. So a general rule of thumb is if we have two surds multiplied together, then we can kind of do the reverse of what we've been doing during our simplification, and we can bring them under one square root sign and have them multiplied together under that. So this first one here, we're going to actually look at this in two ways, and then we will look at a few other questions. I think I've got a total of 7 questions to go through. So let's jump straight to it. So here I've got root 4 times root 4, so that's going to be 4 times 4, which is going to give me root 16. But think about it for a second, square root of 16 is going to be 4. And if we look at it in another way, this question here, and this sort of as well explains why this happens, is if I again look at root 4 times root 4, well, the square root of 4 is 2. So I'm doing 2 times 2, which gives me 4. So in general, if we have the same surd multiplied by itself, the answer will just be the number that's under the surd. So we can now very quickly go through these next ones. So root 3 times root 3, that's just going to be 3. Root x times root x, that is just going to be x. So that's always the case when the surds are the exact same, we get just the number that's underneath. But that's not always going to be the case, so let's look at a few that are different. So I've got root 2 times root 5, so that's now going to be root 2 times 5, which is just going to be root 10. I think to myself, can I potentially simplify it? No, I can't. All the square numbers that are lower than it don't divide into it. And I'm just going to write out a few of my square numbers here. Okay, next one then. I've got root 3 times root 6. So that's going to be root 3 times 6. So that's just going to be root 18. And I can simplify that, because if I do 18 divided by 2, that gives me 9, which is one of my square numbers. So always make sure you double check to see if you can potentially simplify it once it's all under one surd. Give me a final answer of 3 root 2. Okay, a couple more then. So here we've got a mix where we have numbers in front as well as the surds. So the best way to do it is you want to sort of multiply these things separately. So first, I'm just going to look at the numbers that are in the front. So I'm doing 2 times 3, which is 6. Then I look at my surds. So I've got the root 8 times root 8. Well, remember, when they're the exact same, then it means sort of I lose that root sign. So root 8 times root 8 is just going to be 8. So my final answer here is going to be 48. So one more. I've got 5 root 5 times 4 root 10. So again, I'm going to just look at the numbers at the front first. So I've got 5 times 4, which is going to give me 20. And then I've got root 5 times root 10. They are different, so I am actually going to have to process this. So that's going to be 5 times 10. It's going to be root 50. But pause a second. You can simplify that, because if I divide that by 2, that gives me 25, which is one on my square numbers. So I'm going to have 20 times 25 times 2. 20 times root 25 root 2. So it's just going to be 20 times 5 root 2. So my final answer is going to be 100 root 2. And that's all you need to know for simplifying surds that are being multiplied together. So again, if you've got ones that are the exact same, then essentially you just lose that square root sign. If they're different, then you can just multiply the numbers under a square root sign. And when you've got numbers at the front, as well as the surds, you multiply the numbers at the front first, and then you look to multiplying the surds. So multiply the numbers at the front first, then you look to multiplying the surds. Okay, I hope that makes sense, and good luck with the work.